This is a poor low quality video. This is no kind of nothing. I look a hot mess. It doesn't matter. I have a theory about Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire, that I need to get out. I need to share because I'm pretty sure I'm right. And if someone else comes out with this, I want to be able to say, oh, I thought about that back in February of 2024. All right, so here we go. This is regarding weirwood trees, children of the forest, how the weirwood trees are made, people getting stuck up in the roots, and the faces. Okay. All of these theories are coming on the heels of David Lightbringer, Gray Area, Talking Thrones, so many others that have all of these great theories who I've given hours and hours, and it's so weird seeing this screen reflected in my glass, hours of my life listening to them and their theories. And it's from listening to all of their theories combined that I think, again, we're acting like this is real history and I'm figuring something out, and I'm sure this probably isn't what George R. Martin had in mind, but this is what it sounds to me like it's happening based on what's in the books and based on what they showed in the shows. And I'm going to try to keep this cohesive enough to make sense, but I can't promise anything. I was watching a video talking about how they think they created the White Walkers or the others, and how the White Walkers are like ice-based shadow babies, like Melisandre's fire-based shadow babies. Melisandre's are black, the best ones are white. And that makes sense to me, absolutely. And then they started talking about how in the show, they had that first Andal kind of like stabbed to the tree, and that his eyes turned blue. And that was how they created, you know, the King, Night King. Those are pissing me off. Please don't mind that. Here's what I think. I think that with what we saw with how the Andal was tied to the tree and transformed. I was watching another video. I want to say this one was it Talking Thrones? Was it David Lightbringer? LML? Could be. About the war between the children and the giants and how that lasted for generations, and how. So here's what I think. I'm going to keep this short because I'll talk forever. And just children of the forest and the giants were warring. I think it came to when they said, and they carved the faces in the trees. I don't think they carved the faces in the trees. I think they locked in giants, and the giants' faces became the trees. They say that the trees take on the face of the green seer that's trapped in its roots, right? And we have all these huge faces on these trees. Some of them are kind of human sized, but most of them in the artwork that you see are gigantic. What if they are gigantic? What if they are giants? What if they were doing this and fueling this power? To interject and clarify as I'm editing, I think that the original magic actually turned people or giants into the trees themselves, not just being tangled in the roots. I think that as there are more and more green seers over time, they get, you know, sucked up by the roots of the trees that are already existing. But I think that the bodies of the trees with this initial magic of the children in the forest are actually like the bodies of the giants or first men. And then they grow and spread. Of these weirwoods initially with giants and not humans. Maybe the White Walkers were I can't think of the word. Not bastardization. Oh my god, my brain is not working. But basically, it didn't go right. It didn't go right because the magic that they were using previously that was working, that allowed them to keep control of everything, that brought all this power to the weirwoods, was giants and giants' blood. Maybe that's the war, because they were killing each other off. And we're saying, well, how could the children of the forest be formidable opponents to the giants, if they're fighting the first men and the Andals and they're losing so easily, it's because they were turning the giants into the weirwoods, and that's why they had all of these huge weirwood trees all the way down to the south. It would explain why so much of it extends far down, because if they're giants, then you're gonna have huge legs, root systems, different things. It could be the rest of their bodies even. You talk about the horn and waking giants out of stone. Maybe it's a line of giants at the wall that are making up these weirwoods that make up the ice wall, which was somebody's theory that made all kinds of sense to me as well. I'm gonna figure out who that is and I guess throw it in here if this ends up being a video. That would make sense. That'd be why they could like walk through their mouth because they're that big. Doesn't that make sense? So anyway, piggybacking off of the theories of these geniuses who've been doing this for years, I think that the first weirwoods and the faces were actually made from giants, and maybe the God's Eye and that grove is the first where they made their pact and they used first men for the first time instead of giants. And then when the Andals came, they tried it again, and is that when it bastardized? Or maybe they tried it with first men and that's when it went wrong, and they're like, hey, we screwed up, we were trying to use you guys instead of the giants. Maybe that's when they and the giants started working together because they realized they'd made a huge mistake. I'm just thinking out loud, and I just want to get this recorded so that when somebody else figures this out, I can say like, oh, I thought of that years before you did. All right. Bye. Won't see you in the next one. There won't be a next one.